I want to talk for a minute about my version of the Rodin coil that I created. I saw a lot of videos on YouTube demonstrating the Rodin coil, and I didn't want to go out and get one of those plastic donuts. I figured I could just make my own little flat plastic disc. And fortunately, with what I do for a living, I have a laser engraver cutter, so I can cut this shape out with my laser. And what I did was I cut it in a sawtooth pattern. So each one of these increments is based off 10 degrees. So it was really easy for me to wind my coil with a little notch here and keep everything nice and straight and tight as I wound the coil. And then the second winding I just did here. So it kept it nice and tight. I made a prototype with some thread just so I could see how it was going to look and I could distinguish one coil from the other. Alright, so there's that prototype. And then I got some magnet wire at Radio Shack, and I don't know what the gauge is, it's pretty light gauge wire. And I wound this coil here so it's nice and tight, it's nice and even, has a nice look to it. And it's done on a fluorescent acrylic. The problem with the acrylic is when I hook up my little AC power supply, this is actually a Playmobil power supply, DC and AC output. It has a variable DC negative and positive, and then a fixed AC output of 20 volts. When I hook that power supply up to this Rodin coil, you see the effects that I got here in the inset video. And the first demonstration was just of the two magnet balls vibrating in there. And then I ordered another magnet that had a magnetic field rather than axially. It's on the side. I can't remember what that's called right now. And I put that in here, and I could clearly see, I made a little mark on it, as you can see in this video inset here. I made a little mark on it, and I could see it spinning. So that's how I did that. The problem with this acrylic is when the AC is hooked up to it for a while, the coil does get a little warm, so the acrylic does start to flex. So what I decided to do was I cut the same thing out of some MDF, medium density fiberboard, because I know that that's not going to melt. I suppose it could catch on fire if I really crank up the volume on that sucker, but this is MDF and you can see the sawtooth pattern. Now the goal is for me to accomplish what I see on the YouTube videos where I put a big steel ball magnet in the center, I hit this thing with the juice, then I can pick up my coil and that ball levitates in the center. That's the goal. I have yet to achieve that, although clearly this does have some effect because the magnets do spin in here. So I was thinking maybe it's not going to work quite right because it's not a true donut, although it has the same winding. So then I decided I was going to make a new coil, and this one's special. This one has nested coils inside. You can see it's got a winding on the outside, so it's wound this way, and then on the inside you can see here it's got a coil winding this way all the way around. Actually there's two of them. So the goal is then to do the Rodin coil on top of that, to put the coil, wind the Rodin coil. That's the next step here. Got about 700 odd times through here. I made this special little thing that I can wind my magnet wire on, calculate how much I need for each coil, then this drops through the center really easily. I don't have to hold on to some spool of wire or whatever. I just made this spool thing with my laser. I cut it out. So the idea is to get this Rodin coil wrapped on here and then play around with the various magnetic fields. First off, to see if that new coil, being that it's thicker now, even though everything in the center is pretty much going to be the same thickness as it meets in the center vortex, I want to see if that has any effect on what my experiments so far. And then we'll hit these outside or these nested coils with some juice, or put them in series with the other coil. There's quite a few different possibilities to be obtained here to see how that affects anything. Hopefully we'll get some cool results. Anyway, that's how I'm doing this laser cutter to cut this part. makes a nice, really nice winding. Okay, that's it for now. Keep watching. I'm going to be doing a lot more experiments, so you can watch my YouTube channel or subscribe to my YouTube channel to see what's coming up. Hopefully I'll have this wound here in the next week. Probably looking at about 3 hours to wind it all up or more. Just the inside part here, that took me 3 hours to do, just the inside coil. So again, this is a stacked, that's two of these, it's two of these stacked on top of each other, and in the center is a ring that's exactly the same size as this right here, and that has windings going this way all the way around 2 times, so like 2 crescents. And then there's a winding going around the outside. And then all that will be contained with inside the Rodin coil. So we'll see what happens. I have no idea what I'm doing. But hopefully I won't blow myself up or electrocute myself or anything like that. If I do, then don't try this at home. All right, peace. Thanks.